You looked at me, man, what are you doing? Look at the board. I'm like, what? You know the craziest thing is when you go to the NBA, I mean, everything's done for you. You don't have to touch a bag. Quinn told me, he said, you're going to learn Excel. Quinn Snyder.
GBN ワンノーワン。今回はトニーがコーチとして再び NBA 入りした日の話から13年間暮らした日本でのエピソードを聞いていきます。
ベガスで話した話って覚えてないかもしれないけど One of the things you told me was, you know, Todo, these people in NBA tell me, hey, Tony, you don't have to do this. That's not your job. Hey, we got people who's going to take care of that. And then I feel so weird, but I feel home at the same time. But I've been carrying my bag and I've been packing my stuff like all these 13 years. And you remember you told me that?
You know the craziest thing is when you go to the NBA, I mean, everything's done for you. You don't have to touch a bag. You get on the plane. When you go to the plane, they take your bag off the plane. They put it on the plane. You don't touch it again until it's in your room. You pack your bag, you put it outside the room. Somebody comes up and gets your bag. They put it on the plane, this and that. You don't touch it again until you get to the next hotel.
じゃあ自分のスモールバッグだけ。
Yeah, that's all. And because here, you know, I washed my clothes, you did all that. It made me grow up, man. So to this day, when we get to the hotel and they bring our bags up, I go downstairs and I help unload the truck. I'm the only assistant coach that does that.
You know, someone told you that you're the only person who carries back on your own, and then they appreciate it.
I don't need you.
Right, manager, equip manager, and then you know, janitor.
Oh man, they gave me so many. They gave me so many shoes and all that type of stuff because they never had to work.
I felt I was doing something bad for you because you know I forced you to do the things on your own. Like
NBA を離れていた期間、外国人選手として三菱電機でプレーしていたトニー。当時三菱のマネージャーだったトードがトニーの世話係をしていた。
I felt at the time like you're high maintenance Americans, right? So like do your thing.
That's what I tried to change it because everyone had this think that Americans are high maintenance. No, we're not. We just don't understand. Just tell me. I can do. I have hands. I have
told
feet.
you,
yeah,
right? And you did it. But you know when you went back to the NBA, you felt that way. You know like you have to adjust again.
Yeah.
So I felt, I was forcing him to.
Yeah, it's like, man, you carry your own weight, man.
それはでも日本の
That's what I learned.
いいところだと思う。
Ever since I was 16, man, I was the best player in my city, best player in my state. I didn't have to do a lot of stuff, man. But I should have. Yeah.
I cussed you out and made you do that. I'm like,
well, you cursed me out, and I didn't listen to how you said it. I listened to what you said. You know, you're the first guy to challenge me here. That wasn't my head coach. People ain't saying nothing to me, man. I mean, they let me play. They ain't saying nothing. But I needed that. You probably don't remember this. You came in playing, and we were playing in Yoyogi once. I think it was in Yoyogi. And I got mad because something happened and somebody took a bad shot. And I'm sitting on the sideline, and I'm not looking at the board. I'm sitting back, this and that. And you're on the other side. This is when you were a coach. And you looked at me, man, what are you doing? Look at the board. I'm like, what? In my head, but I'm like, I like this dude.
And at the time, probably I cussed you out.
You did. I thought you were crazy. I'm like, man, what is this little bitty Japanese guy talking to me?
I wasn't even a coach. I'm like a practice player.
Yeah, exactly. But you were helping because your foot was hurt. And I remember it was from that board, you started going, I'm like, this dude is crazy.
プラクティスプレイヤーでそれをあなたに言ったのはちょっと今思うとクレイジーだと思う。
Yeah, you crazy as hell.
でもそれはレスペクトの裏側なのよ。デュークへのラブとレスペクトがあったから。
It was because you had this image of Duke
そう。
being this way. And I had to realize too that, man, of course you need to know what you're talking about, this and that. But if you're about the right things and you're about making players better, you can coach at any level, man.
From my, memory, right? I had so much respect for the Duke. How much team they are. Right? I got great respect for that. So I see you as a leader of the team. If you let whatever happens on the court affect your, performance or feeling, and then who else can show us the right way?
Exactly. And that's why I learned Japanese.
right?
You have to understand, I'm just getting here. I don't understand the language. I don't understand anything. I don't understand how people think. I can't just go in there trying to lead unless I show people that I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit. Learning Japanese showed that, and it took me a long time. And I messed up. I was this and that, but I got to the point where I felt like people would follow me.
No. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You didn't have that confidence?
Well, I just didn't. It was so foreign to me, man. It's the first time I ever lived outside the country. I played in the NBA all that time. I mean, I played in the Philippines, and then I ended up coming here. 日本人でしょ、真面目。So you don't know どうやっていいちょっとリーダーだから。So I'm trying to find how to lead, but I don't know the personalities. So I started reading books about Japanese culture. I started reading books about trying to figure out. That's why I know the history. I started reading, all right, this is the way of thinking. Don't be loud. Be respectful. Be this way. Bam, 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 bam. And then now I started figuring it out. You know, take guys out. Let's bring them over to my house. Let's do all this type stuff with my players. But it took me a while to get there because I didn't know. I didn't know one word of Japanese. I was 29, 30 years old when I got here.
NBA で戦ってきたトニーがなんで日本なんで三菱電機
All right, so I'm playing in the Philippines. Win a championship. Won 2 championships in the Philippines. And I had the opportunity to go back to the NBA. Toronto wanted me to come back and play for a year.
本当
Yeah, they watched me in the Philippines, this and that. But I knew in my mind, it was just like, okay, do I want to go back? I played in the NBA 7 years, 6 teams, man. I got tired of moving around. And Murata's son, Murata Kenji, came over. He was the head coach. Yeah, he was the head coach at the time with Andy and all my guys, people that influenced me. And came to watch me play. They gave me a contract. The contract was, you know, when you first get here, you're always coming from the NBA. It was good money. And I had these 2 decisions to make. I had NBA or Japan. I've always wanted to be in Japan. But the NBA wasn't a guaranteed deal.
なるほどね
But I felt like I was going to make the team because I had gotten better, this and that, I'll be fine. So I went to sleep. Again, here it is again. I went to sleep and I'm just like, man, I'm not a preacher. I'm not. But I said, you know, God, could you just give me a sign, man? I need help on this. I'm kind of struggling with it. Yeah, before I went to sleep. I'm struggling with this. Can you give me help? I went to sleep. In my sleep, I see myself. This is the only thing I see in my dream. I'm driving a car. I don't know what type of car it is. I stop, I get out the car, and I look in the front of it. There's 3 diamonds on this.
No way.
Car. You can't make this up, though. I'm not making this up. You cannot make, I mean, it just doesn't happen that way. The next day, I signed a contract, sent it to Andy. I came to Japan.
Any doubt?
No doubt. No doubt. That's how I ended up here.
三菱電機の選手となり5年後、コーチへ転身したトニー。実は当時、日本に留まるかアメリカに戻るかの分かれ道があったそう。
The thing that when I was here, I did get an offer from Duke to coach. And I had this time schedule to do it. So I'm watching my son play baseball. It's in the summer. I'm back at home. I'm watching my son play baseball. I went up to Duke, took my family. I came back. And he called. I was at the game. He was like, hey, you know, what are you going to do? I'm deciding to go with, who did he end up going with? Nate James, I think. But anyway, and he was just like, you know, I was one of the candidates. I was like, Coach, I can't. He said, in the next year or so, I'm going to be a head coach for a pro team. I have more influence there than here. I can change more people's lives there than here.
しかもそれがあればヘッドコーチ experience with foreign country and that's when NBA was started.
Exactly.
You know, like bringing in. And I told you that.
You told me all that.
Yeah, I told you that.
Yeah, and I ended up getting my job in the NBA because I was a head coach in a pro league.
NBA で起用されるコーチは長らく国内コーチ中心だったが、選手の多国籍化に伴い、この頃から外国でのヘッドコーチ経験のある人材を採用し始めている。
That's why I give everything I can back to Japanese basketball. You know where I came from, man. You know, Mitsubishi gave me a chance with no one else. That's why I have all the respect. And it wasn't, of course, I end up getting fired
そう、いや
for something that I didn't think I should have been fired for.
OK。あの年の2月かなんかに名古屋で飲んでる。あの時すごい疲れてて、すごい悲しそうだって元気がない。I've never seen you in that state. I didn't tell you at the time. I felt, you should just go. Yeah, you should go back. You did so much and you're not being appreciated the way maybe you deserve. So maybe it's time to go, I felt.
And that's what happened. I mean, it really bothered me at the time because I gave so much.
Yeah.
But if I wouldn't have gotten fired, I wouldn't have been able to go to the NBA. I would have been in Japan the whole time. And my influence would not have helped Japan as much as it does now. So there was a plan in the beginning that when I got fired, 2 weeks later, I'm on the front bench of an NBA team. And you know the first thing I did? I helped Mitsubishi. And I was at the game and I saw the Mitsubishi guys. We were in Summer League. I saw them over there and a voice told me, hey, you go over there and you thank those people for what they did for you. They gave you opportunity. You are a black man from Mobile, Alabama, and you are a head coach of a Japanese team, and you're sitting on the Olympic committee.
協会員ね。
Go over there and you thank those people. Went over there to thank them.
で、誰が言ったの？
Oguri-san, so Andy. Man, we hugged each other, we cried, we did all this and that. I said, okay, man, what you guys need from me now to make you better? How can I help you? We had to get it out, but it had to happen. I got comfortable and I wanted to be here, and there's another plan for me to help basketball here. And I hope that I'm allowed to continue to help.
三菱でのヘッドコーチの経験がやっぱりその NBA のチケットになったみたいな話だったけど、でも実際行った時に
It's hard, man. I was a head coach in Japan. I was fortunate where I learned enough Japanese where I could communicate. I had a great translator, great Mitsubishi was great, this and that. But I did all my notes by hand. I went through the video, I would stop it, and I would write down times, and I would write down notes, all that. So you remember I would do that. So my first job in the NBA, they asked me, they say, do you know how to do sports code, Synergy, Excel? I'd never seen it. So my first year, the first half of the year, I worked out one player. Derek Favors, who ends up being he's like my little brother now.
一人しか与えられない。普通2人か3人与えられる。
I had one guy. And Quinn told me, he said, you're going to learn Excel. Quinn Snyder. So you're going to learn Excel? He made me sign up for a class. Yeah, and forgot he made me sign up for it. Yeah, that's just, you're going to learn Synergy. And you're going to learn sports code. So my first year, I had to learn all that, man. I had to learn how to put sorters together. I had to learn how to type up scouting reports. I had to learn how to do individual workouts, post-game reports, just all this stuff. And it all came to me. My first year was really tough, man. So I didn't really get to coach. I was trying to learn everything that was going on. But it's just like every other experience I had, like growing up, where I came from, growing up here, in Japan, because I grew up here in Japan. I did. I found a way to figure it out. Because he's not full Japanese, this and that. Even just the word half, to me, it's like, no, he's half what? Watch into a camp, this and that. And Dominique Wilkins, who The difference between Utah, K-State,